Hello everyone, it's Mariners Fanatic back with another YouTube video, and today's video will be about who the Mariners should trade for at the deadline coming up here in a few weeks. This is opinion based, obviously. However, I truly think that a lot of these players on this list that I have for you do fit with this squad, both in the short term and the long term. But I have 15 names for you that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to be doing it in groups. I'll have 5 position players, 5 starting pitchers, and 5 relief pitchers. In my mind, if we are serious about contending not only this year, but the next years coming up, we need a frontline starting pitcher, some more dependability in the infield, as well as one, maybe 2 more relievers, preferably a left-handed reliever. With that said, starting off with the position players. At number 5, we have Brad Miller, a familiar face and a guy who is on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal and is a free agent in 22. Right now with the Phillies, he is currently batting .245 with 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, 108 OPS plus, and almost a 49% hard hit rate. He's hitting the ball hard, he plays solid defense, he's got a little bit of speed, and overall is just a solid utility player and a lefty bat that we need. Jake Bauers has done okay for us so far. However, I would prefer to have Brad Miller, and then we can play Ty France at first base, or however we want to roll with that. Number 4 is Ryan McCann from the Rockies. He is 26. This year he's being paid $2.375 million. He still has 2 years of control, arbitration years 2 and 3, and he becomes a free agent in 2024. He has played second and third base mostly for the Rockies this year, although he can probably play some first base as well. He's actually a pretty solid defender. I honestly thought he was just an average player, but he's been pretty good in the infield so far for the Rockies this season. As of making this video, he's got 16 home runs, 45 RBIs, 107 OPS plus, and he also has a 49% hard hit rate. McCann is lower on this list because I think he'll be harder to get from the Rockies, as well as there will probably be competition for his services from other teams looking to make moves at the deadline. Moving to number 3 on this list, we have Jonathan Schoop. He's 29, plays for the Tigers. He's being paid $4.5 million this year and is a free agent in 2022. Currently, he is batting .278, 16 home runs, 49 RBIs. He has a 121 OPS plus, and he can play first base, second base, or DH. He's actually been pretty solid at second base for the Tigers this year. Not so much at first, but we can also have him DH. He also is not number 1 on this list because there's going to be competition for him, especially since he is a free agent at the end of the year. A lot of guys will be looking to jump in on him as a rental player. But it would also mean that he'd be cheaper, seeing as how we'd only get him for half a season, so we wouldn't have to give up any big name prospects. Next up, number 2 on this list is Adam Frazier of the Pirates. He is 29 years old, earning $4.3 million this year. He still has arbitration year number 3 next year and doesn't become a free agent till 2023. He is batting .324. He's earned 2.5 WAR so far this season with a 137 OPS plus, and he only has a 10% strikeout rate. He's a big contact guy, and he's going to hit for average and play pretty good second base defense, which, as you can tell so far from this top 5 position players, second base, first base is our biggest hole, and if we trade Seager, third base would be as well. That leads to the number 1 player on this list, Jesus Aguilar of the Miami Marlins. He is 31, earning 4.35 this season. He still has arbitration year 3 left next year and doesn't become a free agent until 2023. He is a first baseman. He can play a little bit of third, but can definitely DH as well. He is batting .265 with 13 home runs and 53 RBIs and a 115 OPS plus. I think Aguilar would be a great fit to play first base. I like Ty at first, but he is a little bit shorter and pretty average at first base as far as defense goes. Aguilar's pretty solid over there at first. That would definitely be an upgrade, and it would allow Ty to DH. Ty could also mix in at third base, and he can still play first as well. So Jesus Aguilar would be a great fit. It would add another right-handed power bat to the lineup, and it would also give us some consistency at first base. As you can tell, there were 0 outfielders on that top 5. I really don't think we need to be targeting outfielders. Whether we trade Haniger or not, if we did, we would still have Jake Fraley, Taylor Trammell, Kyle Lewis, Jared Kelnick, Julio Rodriguez coming down the pike. Just a lot of depth right there at the moment with guys that should be in the starting lineup. If we did target an outfielder, I would love to go after Bryan Reynolds. However, there's going to be a lot of competition for him, just like there will be for Adam Frazier. Everybody's going to be talking to the Pirates. I would rather focus on bigger needs than the outfield. I have also seen a lot of people talking about Nelson Cruz. Although I love Nelson Cruz, having him back would probably make us better. However, that contract is a little bit expensive for a rental, in my opinion, and he can pretty much only DH. He doesn't play the outfield anymore. He's 41 years old. I don't expect him to. Cruz is having a good year. He's batting 306, 18 home runs, 45 RBIs. So he would be great as a DH. It's just hard for me to see it as a fit, both money-wise and positionally. But that's a little bonus for you, Nelson Cruz. Moving on to starting pitcher, which I think is the next biggest need heading into the deadline. Coming in at number 5, we have Kyle Gibson. The reason why he is last on this list, even though he's probably having the best season out of everyone on this little 5-person list, is because he is older, he's also more money, and I don't think his stats are sustainable. He has a 1.98 ERA, 2.27 ERA plus, and a 3.42 FIP. He is a consistent pitcher. I love watching his sinker move. I still think he's a good pitcher. However, it is a slight bit more risky as he's making $10 million this year, $7 million next year, before becoming a free agent again in 2023. And personally, I would rather pursue someone a little bit younger. That being said, that moves me into number 4 on this list, which would be Austin Voth. Now, I don't know if the Nationals would be willing to give him up, but he has been rather inconsistent. He was bad in 2018 when he first came up. He was good in 2019. He was bad again in 20, and he's been good so far this year in 2021. But he is under club control through 2025, which makes the deal less likely as they have so much control over him. Why would you give that up? He's making about league minimum, which is about $575,000 a year. So he's not a very expensive player, and you're probably not going to give up that control as far as the Nationals management goes. Moving on to number 3 on this list, we have Jose Berrios. For his career, he's 55 and 40 with a 4.10 ERA, 106 ERA plus, and a 4.03 FIP. He's been rather inconsistent throughout his career. At times, he looks like an all-star and a potential Cy Young candidate, and then other times he just doesn't quite have it. However, he is still young. This year, he's making $5.6 million. He still has arbitration years 3 next year, and then he becomes a free agent in 2023. So it wouldn't exactly be a rental player, but there's not a ton of control. So prospect-wise, it would not be terribly expensive since it's not like Austin Voth, where the Twins have control over him for the next 5 seasons. But he will cost us a little bit, which is expected, so that's why he's number 3 on this list. Number 2 on this list for starting pitchers, we have Luis Castillo. Now, Castillo has been somebody I have talked about the Mariners targeting over the past year. I still want them to go after him. He had a rough start to the year, however, not including last night. His last 7 starts, he's had a 2.3 ERA, and he's faced the Padres twice and the Milwaukee Brewers twice. Last night against the Royals, he went 7 innings and only gave up 1 run. He's been pitching very well after his rough start, and I was very confident that Castillo would rebound. He is a great pitcher. For his career, he's 35 and 43. That tells you something about the Reds and their ability to give him run support. But he has a 3.84 ERA, 119 ERA plus, and a 3.79 FIP. So he's better than Berrios by a little bit of a margin. Although Castillo has 1 more year of arbitration, which makes his price tag maybe a little higher. He's got years 2 and 3 left and doesn't become a free agent until 2024. This year, he's only making 4.2. However, I think it would be a dream if we could somehow get Castillo from the Reds. And number 1 on this list for starting pitchers is German Marquez of the Rockies. He is 26. He has a 49 and 36 record, 0.15 ERA, 127 ERA plus, and a 3.79 FIP. Now, what makes this impressive is he has done it at Coors for the past 3 or 4 years. He almost threw a no-hitter against the Pirates a couple weeks ago at Coors, and then against us, he threw 8 innings of 1-run ball and was very impressive. He has been great his last few starts. He hit a rough patch kind of earlier in the season as well, but has since recovered. The only difference with Marquez is the Rockies extended him earlier on, so he's making $11 million next year, $15 million in 23, and then becomes a free agent in 2024. So there's no arbitration cases to worry about. However, he is going to be a little bit more expensive. And this year he's making $7.5 million. But I think Marquez would be great. He's been pitching in a hitter's friendly park for the past 3 or 4 years, and moving to a little bit more of a pitcher friendly park in T-Mobile Park would be a huge benefit to him, and I think he would pitch really well for us. So those were the top 5 starting pitchers that I think we should target, and now I will move into the top 5 relief pitchers that I think we need to be looking at. At number 5, we have John Gant of the St. Louis Cardinals. He's done some starting pitching as well. He's kind of a mid-relief role. Gant is making $2.1 million this year. He still has 1 year left of arbitration and doesn't become a free agent until 2023. So far with his career for the Cardinals, he is 23-21 with a 3.75 ERA, 107 ERA plus, 4.31 FIP. The most impressive stat that I've seen from him is he has a 0.8 home runs per 9 for his career. He does not give up home runs. However, the Cardinals are hurting for pitching right now, so I don't know if they would give him up. Moving on to number 4 on this list, we have Brett Martin of the Texas Rangers. This one is less likely as the Rangers have team control of Martin through the 2025 season. However, he's been a quality reliever for them in his career so far. He's 5-6 with 3.76 ERA, 131 ERA plus, and a 3.96 FIP. We are in need of a lefty reliever, and Martin fits that bill as he's having a really good season this year, and Texas is nowhere close to contending. Moving to number 3 on this list, we have Anthony Bender of the Miami Marlins. Somehow, I don't remember how, but they picked this guy up, so he's on a 1-year league minimum contract of $570,000, and he is outplaying that contract by a wide margin. So far, he's got a 0.68 ERA, a 5.95 ERA plus, and a 1.6 FIP, which is insane. And he has an 11.6 strikeout per 9 ratio. The only problem with Bender and why he's not number 1 on this list is there's going to be a lot of competition for him. Some of these other guys, there might not be as much competition, or because of contracts or whatever, they may not be as appealing. But Bender, with his 1-year contract, is going to have a lot of teams calling the Marlins for his name. Moving to number 2, we have a former Mariner in Paul Fry of the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles have club control through 2024 with Fry. This year, he's having a really good year. Overall, for his career, he's 5-14 with a 4.07 ERA. He's got 7 saves, 111 career ERA plus, and a 3.64 FIP. He is also a left-handed reliever. He is of need, as we've really only got Masevich, and right now Santiago, who is potentially going to be suspended soon. And there is not much left-handed depth in the minors as far as relief pitching goes, besides Aaron Fletcher, so we really need to get ourselves a left-handed. Moving on to number 1, we have Taylor Rogers of the Minnesota Twins. Rogers is likely to be targeted by a lot of teams. However, I think the Mariners should make a push for him. If we're not going to go after Berrios, we need to go after Rogers. He's got 1 more year of arbitration next year. Currently, he's making $6 million, and he becomes a free agent in 2023. For his career, he's 17-17 with a 3.05 ERA, 48 career saves, a 1.45 ERA plus, 3.01 FIP, 10.2 career strikeout per 9, and a 0.8 home run per 9, which is very impressive. So those are going to be my trade targets for the Mariners here over the next 3 weeks up until the deadline. A couple of teams were featured on here twice. For example, the Rockies with Marquez and McCann, the Twins with Berrios and Rogers, and the Marlins with Bender and Aguilar, as well as the Rangers with Martin and Gibson. Package deals for both players are likely going to be expensive in all of these regards, so targeting one of them is probably our best option, and that's why, for me, I would go with my number 1 picks in each category, Marquez, Aguilar, and Rogers. But if we were able to get at least one of the players from my list of 15, I would be happy with that, because I know that Jerry's going to be doing a lot of fancy footwork with this trade deadline, so we'll see how it goes, but I will be happy if we can get at least one of the 15 players on my list. So with that said, guys, let me know in the comments who you think we should target. What do you think of this list? And how else are we feeling about the Mariners so far, looking towards the next 3 weeks and the All-Star game? Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next few weeks with some more trade themed videos. Mariners Fanatic out.